Hey everyone, Gill Gross here, and it is time for another mailbag where I answer your comments, but this time with a theme. About a week ago, I posted on the YouTube community tab and on Twitter at Gill_Gross. I asked you for comments about anything other than tennis. No tennis allowed in the spirit of off-season. This is part 2 of the mailbag. If you haven't seen part 1, check that out. Let's get right into it. From Vanch, top 3 favorite TV series. All right. Number 1, Breaking Bad. Favorite TV show ever, Breaking Bad. No doubt about it. Number 2, it's in progress, Succession. Totally obsessed with that show. I mean, Breaking Bad, man, a lot of it was like, you know, the action, the characters, I mean, the craft of it. Yeah, I mean, the acting was excellent, right? The writing really good, but part of it was just the twists and turns of that. Succession, it's not about the action. It's just not. It's literally just the writing and the acting. Like, just the most captivating writing I have ever experienced watching a show. So Succession. And then number 3, like, I just want to be out of the box. I want to be bold here. A lot of people are going to be like, what, Gill? This is a children's show. And then I feel like others are going to be like, I love you, Gill. Great choice. Great choice. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Love that show. It's technically an anime. It's a Japanese cartoon. I haven't watched any other animes. I gotta be honest with you, that's the only one I've ever watched. But, you know, that's just because it was on Nickelodeon growing up, and I've watched it multiple times, and I think it's amazing. And I think adults could enjoy that. I think kids could like that. I don't think it matters. I just think it was a great, great show. And then this next person asked top 5. I don't know. I might want to cut it off at 3. Yeah. I'm not really desperate to get any other shows in there, you know? I've enjoyed other shows, but then I think we're, you know, no. I want to cut it off at 3. From Caroline, question is, what motivates you to do this? What is your goal for the future? I feel like we've kind of covered this. What motivates you to do this, though? I don't know. I love it. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for what motivates. I feel like that one I have an answer. I love it. Doesn't feel like work. That was always kind of my goal, you know? I didn't want work to feel like work. I was just following what I like to do. And that's how I ended up in this. Just following, trying to do what I want to do. That's it. From Mike, can you share general information about who watches your channel? Like, what countries and age groups watch your content the most? All right, let me pull this up. All right, so the top geographies are US, UK, India, Australia, Canada. No surprise there. You know, I've talked about this before. I'm always struck by all my friends in India, given the fact that they don't really have a player to get too engaged with, and they don't really have a lot of tournaments to get engaged with. I know there's a lot of people there, but to me, it just speaks to how much potential is in that market for tennis to grow even more and develop in India. I am 83% male, 17% female. I've been really happy that percent female number has actually gone up and up recently. I hope it keeps going up. I love that. And my most common age demographic is 25 to 34. Makes up 29.6% of my viewership. Lots of 25 to 34. Which is pretty good. You know, obviously it's pretty young. So I'm cool with that. From another one from Anuj Beatles. What is your coffee recipe? Do you use AeroPress? And what's your MMA intro music? It's not Shazamable. Let me answer number 2 first. The MMA intro music is from like a royalty-free music website. I'm probably going to retire that music at some point. It's been 4 years, and I'll probably do something else in that direction eventually. But yeah, it's called Funky on the Road. Like, you're not really going to find it. So I think it's pretty good. You know, I like my music, but I think it can be better. What's your coffee recipe? So I have 2 machines. I have an espresso machine that was originally my parents'. They weren't using it, so I took it. It is a Vienna, Seiko Vienna Super Automatica, really expensive machine. I feel really lucky to have it because I couldn't afford it on my own, or, you know, I wouldn't buy it on my own. That just is like one button makes espresso. It's awesome, but it's not like Nespresso. You know, it grinds the beans, compresses the beans, and makes a shot of espresso without, you know, relying on like the little Nespresso pods, which I wouldn't want to be captive to because I like to buy whole bean roasts, you know, from all over the world, and I'm kind of into that. And then I drink a lot of drip coffee as well. I'm not a pour over guy. I know most of the elite coffee lovers make pour over because that tastes the best and that is the most customizable. But my setup is that I have a burr grinder, which is a really good way to step up your coffee game, is to grind your own beans right before you brew the coffee. It's going to enhance the flavor dramatically. So I have a grinder, and I have what is a very high quality auto drip. It is it's from OXO, OXO, 8-cup brewer. Does a really great job with drip coffee. And I think I'm able to make great coffee and invest in really good beans, fresh beans. Usually the lighter to medium roast is kind of stuff is going to taste better, especially for auto drip or for drip coffee. I know everyone has their preferences, especially if you're not putting cream in it. If you're putting half and half in your coffee, the darker roasts, you know, tend to do better. But I like to drink my coffee black as long as it tastes good black. If it doesn't taste good black, I'll throw some cream in there. But I buy coffee that is generally very light roasted. I drink it black. And so many beautiful flavors that are in coffee that if you kind of get into really exploring the highest quality coffee possible, you kind of uncover that world. And I love it. Right now, I'm drinking an iced latte from, you know, my espresso machine, pulled 3 shots, whole milk, ice, boom. Who's your favorite MMA fighter? I'm in a rut right now. I don't really know. I'm not really fully behind anyone. I don't know what to do. Look, I loved Conor McGregor early on, you know, on that magical rise. I don't want to say before he got big, right? Like, he was already big, but he wasn't big in the way like that all sports fans know him and he has his own whiskey, right? It was way before that. But Conor, in multiple ways, has completely fallen off. And, I mean, you know, that's over. That's gone. That's done with. I love Chris Weidman, New York guy. He's done. Israel Adesanya. I was getting behind him. His last couple fights have just, you know, a little bit underwhelming. A little bit underwhelming from an entertainment standpoint. I still love him. I still like to watch him. Max Holloway is one of my guys. He is starting to slow down just a little bit, but I love Max. Paddy Pimblett, I wanted to get behind. This thing with Ariel, man. I mean, I'm not into it. I'll tell you that. I love Ariel Helwani. If you're familiar, Ariel Helwani and Paddy Pimblett, UFC fighter, had this big beef. I believe Paddy is completely in the wrong. Ariel is completely in the right, and makes me like him less. And then he went out there. He barely won the fight. He probably didn't win the fight, and you know, got the judge's decision anyway. So I am not too into anyone right now, and I don't love that. I do like Ngannou, by the way, though. You know, I like the heavyweight champion of the world. What's your favorite movie? Not a enormous movie buff, but I'm going to go with Memento. Memento is the movie that, man, the experience of watching it, like, it just hit different. I've watched it, you know, I've gone back to it, and the way time, that's the most amazed I've been with the actual craft of movie making. You know, like, there have been movies that maybe I've enjoyed very much so, but that was the movie where, you know, I kind of came away from it and I'm like, wow, that was art. That was an insane genius on the screen. Christopher Nolan, of course, the director there. And again, the way he manipulated time in that movie, which obviously it's Christopher Nolan's thing. It's what he does. That was incredible. Favorite non-tennis athlete? I don't know. Adam Fox, New York Rangers defenseman. I don't know. I care about the Rangers more than any other team outside of tennis. So that's my answer. But, yeah. From Jason, how has the LA move gone? Great. You know, I feel very fortunate. In my industry, it is difficult to start in a big city. I like big cities. I like the resources that they provide, the energy that they provide, the food scene that they provide. I like that when people visit me in LA, it's really easy to have a lot of fun. I like that the weather's good. So there's a lot to like, and it's a great place for me to be right now. So from Will you do a Kendall Roy impression for us at some point? So I just wanted to get everybody together early in my tenure to say, yo. That's all I got. From Leon. Will you learn a new language like French or Spanish? Which one and why? How does Djokovic manage to speak so many? Look, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know why Americans, and I'm sure people have studied this, and I could look it up, but I don't know why Americans are so bad at learning multiple languages, but we are, and I'm no exception. I'm very bad. I took many years of Spanish, many years, but, you know, I haven't in a while. It went away. I don't speak good Spanish, but at a time I had a decent handle on it, especially like if I needed to write in Spanish. I was a pretty good writer, which is, I think, just a little bit easier than speaking. But yeah, right now, no. I mean, I don't understand, and I admire in a big way how people are so multilingual, because I'm jealous of it. I wish it were me. It's not. From another member, Lunga. Hi, Gill, Messi or Ronaldo? Sorry to put you on the spot. Is this going to make people hate me? Look, I don't have an answer, like a real answer of who is better. I don't, okay? I don't know. I'm open to all arguments. But in terms of who have I gravitated more towards, you guys should probably know this. You could probably guess this. Messi. You know, Ronaldo, freak athlete, really strong and powerful, excellent leaping ability. But, you know, genetic lottery guy athletically. I'm much more attractive to the guy who's the shortest dude on the pitch and just does it with skill, foot skills that so surpass everybody else that, you know, to me, Messi's game is a little bit more beautiful and a little bit more entertaining for me. And he's the guy who I've gravitated towards a little bit more than the great Cristiano Ronaldo. Is that all right? Is that a decent answer? I don't know. Let's see if he gets that World Cup. That would be big, right? In the Messi versus Ronaldo argument, because Ronaldo doesn't have a World Cup. But it is a little bit unfair, right? I don't think anybody would argue that over the years, Portugal has had equal talent to Argentina on these national teams, right? Argentina has had much more talent. So it's probably an unfair argument to hold that against Ronaldo. Which, in your opinion, is the most demanding sport? Do individual sports generally rank higher in terms of rigor? Specifically, compare and contrast football and tennis. Well, mentally, it's not even close. Mentally, individual sports are harder. There's no debate here. They're harder. All the onus is on you. In my opinion, the most demanding sport is mixed martial arts. And the factors for this, is very multiple. Athletically, it's a very demanding sport. I mean, just try hitting a heavy bag for 2 minutes. Try wrestling for 2 minutes. Try rolling jiu-jitsu for 2 minutes. Sparring in any way for 2 minutes. They do it for 5, sometimes 5-minute rounds. It's absurd. It's the purest sport. Nobody invented fighting. Okay? Nobody invented it. It just is. It's natural. And, it's just man on man, woman on woman, in the purest form, one-on-one. It's a fight. And it obviously requires certain toughness, certain pain tolerance that far surpasses almost any sport, probably just any sport, period. But it's also chess. There's a huge level of technicality to it. In terms of all of the disciplines that need to be mastered in order to have any success in mixed martial arts, from wrestling to jiu-jitsu to boxing to Muay Thai and kickboxing. All of these things very much need to be proficient, and some of these things need to be mastered in order to have any success in this sport. But the biggest factor that I think mixed martial arts is the most demanding sport is because you're not getting paid, and you have very poor resources. The pay is bad, and you have to make decisions about your career that are very strained oftentimes financially. And I only think that makes it more difficult to succeed in this sport in reality. Specifically comparing football and tennis, assuming you are talking about non-American football, what's more demanding? Look, they're pretty similar. The big difference is that, athletically, they're pretty similar. Most tennis players are really good at football and vice versa. I mean, soccer players at least could be good at tennis if they were to train. Because athletically, it's just a similar athlete. But I don't know. The biggest difference is teammates versus no teammates, which is a huge difference. From Caleb. Hey, Gill, big fan of the channel. I am a new tennis player since COVID, and similar to yourself, also grew up a baseball player with a sports analytical mind. The game transferred well, and I have come to love tennis, modeling my game after Novak. My question is, what position did you play in baseball, favorite team, and have you thought of coaching either sport in the future? I was a second baseman. I was a contact hitter, like a leadoff hitter, singles hitter, not a lot of power, just because I wasn't strong enough. On worse teams, I was a shortstop. On better teams, I was a second baseman. Because my arm strength left a little bit to be desired, which is why I was a little bit better at second base and shortstop. But I had a great glove. I had really good range in the infield. And those were really my strengths. I wasn't all that good a player, to be completely honest with you. I also pitched in recreation. I didn't pitch in travel ball, which is, again, at a higher level. I threw a lot of strikes, didn't have great stuff, didn't have a lot of velocity, but I threw a lot of strikes. I kept it low in the zone. I got a lot of ground balls. Have I thought about coaching either sport? No, I'm not. Look, I don't know. It's tough with tennis. I have no training in coaching, so I'm not naive enough. And I have coached tennis. So I should say I have coached tennis at the lower level. I'm assuming you're talking about the higher level of tennis. Like, I don't know, would I coach? Look, at the end of the day, I'm not all that qualified a tennis coach. Do I think I could do it? Obviously, yes. Especially with a little bit of additional guidance and training. Yes, obviously, yes. Baseball, no. I'd love to coach my kids in baseball. I'd love that. I'd love to manage my kids' team. But outside of that, no. Money line prices for Alex Gruskin versus Gill Gross on a hard and clay court. Well, good one. We've played a bunch, but we haven't really played a full set, or a full match, I should say. Gruskin is a small favorite. If I'm like just off of when we've played, look, do I take the court expecting to win? Absolutely, I do. Especially at full strength. I take the court expecting to win. But based on how it's gone, he's edged me out on a couple of occasions here. Again, we're really close in level. It's good stuff. He's just been a little bit better than me. So I actually think the quicker the surface, the better for me, because I have bigger weapons than him. So I would say, unless I'm in, and I know this would surprise you, but I'm actually better now on quicker courts. On a clay court, I'd make Gruskin minus 140, and on a hard court, I'd make him minus 120. At the same time, I'd win. HM, are you a fan of ice skating? Well, if I say no, my girlfriend will break up with me. She's a figure skater. So yeah, I am a fan of ice skating. I'm assuming you're talking about figure skating. Me ice skating myself, I can get around without falling, but I'm pathetic. I look pathetic out there. Why did you move to La La Land, and do you like it there? I moved to La La Land to be closer to Tennis Channel Studios in Santa Monica. Would you rather be able to talk to your 70-year-old self or your 5-year-old self again? I would not want to talk to my 5-year-old self. I have nothing to say. It's not like I've made a mistake in life that I would go back and change. There's no mistake that has been detrimental or catastrophic enough where I would like go back and tell my 5-year-old self to do anything differently. I would just be like, dude, do it again. I got nothing to tell you. 70-year-old self, I would love to talk to my 70-year-old self, obviously. What's your favorite cup of noodle flavor? That's from my man, Wes Davenport. Wes Davenport is behind the scenes at Tennis Channel, making the magic happen as a technical director, which means he's like switching between graphics and matches and pictures. You know, like he's... All right, I'm not going to keep explaining it, but anyway. Yeah, I'm not well versed in cup of noodle. I'm not. But I am on a ramen kick. And I really like, I believe it's tantamen. It's like spicy, a little sesame-based, a little bit of mala action going with the Sichuan peppercorns. Anyway. From Thalis, what team do you support, NBA and NFL? Don't know for you, but for me, it's easy that I am supporting the Lakers and the Colts. Of course, I started at the same time on both, but I want to know if this kind of support is common or it's more for those other countries. This is such a funny comment to me. Like the Lakers, yes. Internationally, I imagine the Lakers are a huge brand and there are Lakers fans around the world. Kobe, Shaq, Magic. I mean, you know, it's just LA. It's been a thing. So that's not surprising. The Colts, I didn't know, like, if there's some sort of Colts global appeal, I am unaware of it. Anyway, my NBA team is the Knicks. My NFL team is the Jets. I'm not very passionate about the Jets. The NFL is the one league where I'm kind of like constantly watching. I'm watching a lot of random games that have nothing to do with the Jets, even when the Jets are playing. I'm focused on fantasy. The NFL is the sport that I enjoy wagering on. In fact, it's the only sport I wager on. So it's kind of my NFL consumption. From Adrian, I remember seeing the channel covering way more sports in the early stages in late 2017 and early 2018. What was one sport that you never got into following and covering but wish you did? It has to be soccer. Yeah. I mean, I really love the game in terms of when I do watch it. I really enjoy it. But, I've never been able to fully commit to it. But I think it's, just an amazing sport. From JJ, how do you feel about the New York Rangers this year? Seems like they lost a step, but could still make the playoffs. Also, who's your favorite NHL player currently and of all time? I still have some faith in the Rangers. I know there's a lot of alarm bells, but, I'm hoping Igor improves because, that's been the biggest issue, At the end of the day, the biggest issue is that he wasn't the Igor from last year, and it was going to be hard to replicate that. But look, I believe in the analytics that suggest that the Rangers are a little bit better than their record suggests right now. And look, I do think that they can have a really strong second half. I have some faith there, just based on the level that they've played. But they got to start finishing their opportunities, and I think they can get some better goaltending. There's no doubt about that, which I know sounds crazy to say after the year that Igor Shesterkin had last year. And then my favorite NHL player of all time, you guys know it's Henrik Lundqvist, and currently it's Adam Fox. From Vishnu, hi Gill, I need a small advice. After my master's, I'm interested in getting into sports analytics in the role of data analyst / data scientist. So what would you suggest to start working on / keep improving / what would be the ideal roadmap to get into sports-related data analyst roles in companies like Tennis Channel, Infosys, IBM, etc.? Also, if you have any idea on good sports analytics master's degree in any U.S. university, please mention. Love your show. I haven't done the research on this in terms of university, but I know Syracuse has the Falk School of Management, and they do have sports analytics programs there. So, that would have to be a Google search on your end. But look, first of all, there's a lot less positions for this in tennis. Sounds familiar, because there's no front offices. In other sports, you have front offices, and they need data analytics people to analyze and evaluate in order to make personnel decisions about players on their team, in their system, and on other teams in other systems. So, look, I would say be creative and make connections, because it's another tough industry, and you need to build relationships, and that's going to ultimately get you further. So be creative, be enterprising, and as best you can, build some good relationships. What is your favorite meal to cook? Tough one. I'm going to go with chicken scarpiello, which I might have pronounced it a little bit poorly. Scarpiello. I mean, it's just kind of a weird name. I like to call it chicken scarp. It is it's basically it's an Italian braised chicken and sausage dish with a brown sauce, cherry peppers, vinegar. It's spicy and it's vinegary. And I just love that with chicken breast and Italian sausage. Served really well, goes really well with potatoes, goes really well with pasta, and it's very balanced. It's kind of hard to mess up. It's really good leftovers if you make too much. So I love it. I'm gonna skip this one. Sorry. It's just I've answered a lot of those questions. Since you're a big fan of MMA, what do you think of Jake Paul versus Andrew Tate? This is from Andrew Liu. I would love your insight. I don't have that much insight on Andrew Tate. Like, I'm not that familiar with him. Jake Paul, I looked at the odds. I saw that he's the favorite again. The next here's what I really want from Jake Paul. I have tons of respect for what he's done, and I'm impressed. I'm not going to lie, I'm impressed. But I want him to take a fight that he's supposed to lose, that he's really, really, really supposed to lose. Like, that's the fight that I want to see from Jake Paul. And it doesn't seem like Andrew Tate is that guy. I know that Andrew Tate has a lot of kickboxing experience. That is very different from boxing. Sorry, it's just not the same. These kickboxers, they fight with a different style, different stance. It's not different gloves. It's not the same. So once again, Jake Paul is the favorite. Again, like, I don't want to hate on him for that, but I'm just not that intrigued here. And look, I'll keep my eye on Jake Paul. Again, I don't turn my nose up on what he's done. And I like that he's been very vocal about the UFC fighters not getting a fair shake, putting pressure on, kind of going up against Dana White. Everyone's afraid to go up against Dana White. He's so powerful. Everybody wants to be on his good side. I like that Jake Paul is in a position of power himself, entrepreneurially, as an individual, where he is really fearless and he's, willing to kind of be a foil to Dana. And I appreciate all of that. So let's see what happens. Let's end on a rapid fire one from Espectros del Rizoma. What are your thoughts on paddle? Extremely popular in Spain and Argentina. My only thoughts on paddle are this. I see highlight videos like on Instagram and YouTube. Sport looks nuts. Sport looks crazy in a good way. I love it. But I've never really watched a full game, and I don't know. All I've seen is these crazy highlights. Once the U.S. is out of the World Cup, who do you want to win usually? I don't really care. I was rooting for Morocco. Thought it was a great and awesome underdog story. So that's who I was pulling for. In the final, I didn't really have a rooting interest much, but I suppose now I've gone on the record. I've said I think Argentina is going to win. Leo Messi, I want that guy to get a World Cup, so I'm Team Argentina for this final. Are you a dog or a cat person? I am a dog person. I like social cats, but like the consistency of dogs versus cats is not even close. Like, to me, dogs have like a 80% approval rating, at least. Maybe 85, 90% approval ratings. Like 90% of dogs I meet, I'm like, this dog's the man. I love this dog. Cats, it's like 20%. All right, 25%. 25% of cats is chill. All right, last thing is favorite TV shows of all time. I've already answered that. I appreciate the kind words at the end of the comment. That'll do it here. This was fun. Again, 2-part mailbag. I'm going to drag it out. So I know my answer that I just gave about Argentina versus France. You'll already know who won. But anyway, if you haven't seen part 1 of this mailbag, check it out. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.